Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight podcast. Andrée is your leadership mindset and golf performance coach. She is an LPGA Class A life member and nationally recognized top 50 golf teacher and expert, a member of the Maine Golf Hall of Fame, and a Neurolinguistic programming master certified coach. Recognizing golf's value as a business tool in today's competitive marketplace, Andrée works with individuals, groups, corporate, or organizational clients to create educational and team-building programs that enhance the professional success of aspiring executives. Andrée, Happy New Year, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday on the Success Insight podcast.
I am so excited, Howard, because this year is going to be so much better than 2021. I know everybody is ready to shift and change and accelerate their growth in 2022.
I'm with you there. And 20, it was a difficult year, perhaps not as difficult as 2020, but I think between you and I, we had the ups and downs and challenges, but I thought we ended on a nice note. But I'm definitely looking forward, like you, hopefully as our listeners as well, to what is in store for us in a good way, healthy way, both physically and mentally in 2022.
Absolutely. In fact, I think we both in focus when we look at the last year, we optimized and really took our own words of wisdom and had our best year ever. And I just have to say, I feel for the folks that were affected by the tornadoes. And I know COVID is still challenging us, but we're going to make it. And I'm excited that we get to share some ideas and visions for everybody to have their best year ever when they choose to do so.
I really cannot have said that any better than you have. And it got me thinking to a statement I had made to a guest on one of our other podcast series about, if this conversation can just change the life of one person, I'm a happy guy. I'm a happy guy.
When you say that, I get goosebumps because back in the late 80s, early 90s, I started an inner city junior golf program for the LPGA that is now a national program. But our goal going into that, even through the Rodney King verdicts, was if we could save one child, we will have succeeded. And we've more than surpassed that goal. And that's our hope. And now we get to help folks that are adults, and maybe they're maybe they're sharing it with their children who are hopeful leaders of the world. And our episode for the kickoff of 2022 is going for the gold in 2022 by living your best vision.
I love it. I love it.
So with that, folks, to those of you that are chimed in and listening, I hope you share this with everybody because we've got some great detailed information for you. I hope you get a notepad out and ready. Certainly, if you're driving, we don't want that, but I hope you take the time to re-listen because we want to help you ready and accelerate your growth in 2022.
Perfect.
So let's start with the bigger picture and create your vision. And I want to start off with one of my favorite quotes is know that you're only limited by your imagination. Desire is fueled by your dream. And a vision is a dream. So there are three big keys that I want to cover through this. And the first one starts with a list. And Howard, you and I have covered a key part of I know their overall wheel can have several more areas of life. And I hope each of you re-listen to this and cover each of the areas of life. But I'm going to focus on, you've got golf or your sport, business, and life. And so the first thing I want everybody to do is to list out all your accomplishments from 2021. Because without that, you can't reset yourself for 2022. Second thing, what dreams were realized from what you originally stated in your goals and vision for 2021? And then a lot of times, once we've done our accomplishments and our dreams, what bonuses did you receive? And it could come in the form of 3 different things. Maybe, Howard, you think of more, but what bonuses? It could be in the form of money. It could be in the form of added value that you weren't expecting. It could be, where have you saved or been gifted money? I had the very good fortune of members giving me money to help cover my bills when I had my hip surgery. It was totally unexpected.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And I just feel so grateful and blessed that they thought to step forward and do that. And it was anonymous. So I don't know, I couldn't even give them a thank you letter, but that is a form of being gifted a blessing and a beautiful assistance. And then once you've done those 3 things, money, added value that you weren't expecting, all that, and where have you been saved or gifted money? Perhaps it's even a reduction in rent through COVID. Maybe it's a reduction in helping you with your business in one way or another, where somebody helped you. In golf, where have you been gifted? It could be somebody helped you with a greens fee for a big tournament that you were really hoping for, that you weren't so sure you could afford because you had unexpected expenses, right? There's so many different ways that this is like magic. And then the next thing you want to write down is, what effort or efforts, plural, did you surpass? And I know you did that with the podcast, Howard. You way surpassed what you originally were setting out to do this year.
That's true. It's true. We ended up with, 116 episodes. And wow. I think awesome. We did that in 2020. And so my goal was 88, because I just thought 116 was just way over. But we ended up with it again.
Holy cow, you did it. Double snowman was just not enough.
Yeah. But it definitely, I think the efforts, the Outdoor Adventure series was the big one for us. And you had an episode on that.
That was so
getting
fun.
out on the golf course and enjoying nature.
Absolutely. And as you know, we both love RVing and camping.
Right.
And that actually ended up, speaking of gifting money, I found a way to save money on rent by living in a campground this summer. And I actually was closer to the ocean than I ever thought I could get with the cost of living. So, there's many different ways, and we need to just look back and reflect, okay, how were we given gifts? And then how can we give gifts to others? It's all part of creating a new vision for your life. And once you surpass that, what more is possible?
Right.
And then in doing that, we can then help many others and even the world.
Sure.
With what we're doing. So the next one is, what obstacles did you overcome? I mean, that horrible tornado is going to be a heck of an obstacle to overcome for many people, from businesses, families, homes. COVID has readjusted many of us. What would you do differently along with overcoming those obstacles?
Something that comes to mind, COVID, the tornadoes, and we also, what's that?
The weather.
is I think there's an opportunity as we look for ways to overcome our obstacles to also include others in
Yes.
the I guess it's the bringing them with you as you help to make your community better, because even though you overcome obstacles, sometimes it needs to be more than just you. So look for others that can be invested in your vision to overcome obstacles. Because I think with COVID, the weather, the tornadoes, we continually are faced with having to learn to not only take care of ourselves, but be more attentive in the community.
And as we do that, we don't realize the impact we can have with people. We really don't. And, when you bring them with you, you're actually uplifting more than you. You're uplifting everybody that has any kind of touch point with you. And as you're sharing those stories, you might even inspire them in a way you don't even know.
Sure.
And listeners, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know how you were inspired this year and how you have shifted and pivoted. We've talked about that often. What would you do differently now? This 2022 is going to be awesome. And what else did you learn? Right? Great. The next thing is look at your year and look at the life you have right now. What is keeping you from the life you would love to live? Once you write that down, I want you to ask yourself, what else? Once you write that down, I want you to ask yourself, what else again? And I would do that up to 5 times and see what you get and really pay attention to those touch points. And the next question becomes, what are you willing to do to get this? How can you take even more responsibility? And how that goes back to opportunity to include others and uplift others, mentor others, and inspire our team, our staff, and, take more responsibility for your golf game. Maybe your kids are pulling you one way, but maybe you want to take more responsibility for your golf game by committing X amount of time to improve your game, but yet maybe you're bringing the kids in and teaching them the game. Or maybe you're making quality time to hit balls versus an hour or two, and then you're able to give more time back to your family who's not interested in golf. There's 2 ways to look at that. And the same thing goes for your business, right?
Or, something that is really coming to mind as we're chatting about these really important points is
Right.
the importance of having a coach, because,
Amen.
as you are introducing these points, I take notes, trying to kind of keep
Mhm.
up with the track of what's being said, figure out where there's do I sit here and just let you go on a roll, listen, and that could be perfectly okay? Or, is there an idea, a concept that maybe is worthwhile expanding? But really what's coming out of today's conversation is, there's a lot that we need to do as individuals.
Yes.
And what those are, whatever shape they come in, perhaps we can do some of them by ourselves, but in so many
Mhm.
other cases, they require to be accompanied by someone like a coach, whether it's a coach like yourself from a professional
Mhm.
perspective, a coach like yourself from a, mindset, neurolinguistic programming, or a coach like myself from a leadership development, career development perspective. But it's having somebody in your corner that's going to be joining you on the ride, not doing the work for you, but joining you.
And that's perfect timing because my next point is what coaching is needed to get you there. That was perfect,
Oh,
Howard.
we
It's
could we couldn't have
like
planned
you're
this one
reading my
better.
notes here. That was perfect. And folks, it's really important to determine what that is. I mean, even again, if I flip back to golf, is it mindset you need? Is it putting? Is it other parts of your short game? Is it irons? Is it woods? Is it everything overall? Is it really building a purposeful practice plan, or is it learning how to strategize better on the golf course so that you're minimizing strokes? And each of these are just as important in your businesses.
Yep.
And now, as we're balancing our lives and so many people are working from home, what else can you do to be more efficient so that you can optimize your progress and your bottom line so that you can really support your families? So, again, I'm always talking about going for the gold and how are we going for the gold? And I looked up the Olympic values, knowing this is a Winter Olympics season coming up. And the 4 top values are determination, courage, equality, and inspiration. And when you think of those 4 values, that couldn't be more appropriate than what we've had in the last couple of years through COVID and all the challenges that have popped up, and how many people have pivoted and actually accelerated their progress and accelerated their business, and how others are just redefining themselves. And how can we really support those leaders? And how are you going to stand out after 2021? How are you going to be true to your values in 2022? And how are you going to further fulfill your contribution to the world? Because the world needs us. And it's up to us to take the responsibility to do that and step forward. And I'd just like to close, Howard, with this opening episode for this year. It's so important to lead yourself, live your vision, and of course, go for the gold and never settle for silver.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic way to kick off the year, Andrée, going for the gold 2022, living your best vision. And again, lots of good nuggets to listen to, consider. If you have a recorder, a journal, get that out, but really, write down, go through Andrée's points that she has introduced to us today. These points, of course, are going to be in our show notes on the Success Inside podcast page, as well as our podcast platforms that include details about the episode. So do take the time to go through this, and you will definitely be on your way to a gold year in 2022, and it's through living your best vision. Andrée, thank you for this wonderful episode to get us into gear for 2022. It's been wonderful.
My pleasure, Howard, as always. And folks, it's really important. What golden nuggets are you pulling from this for yourself and your businesses and your sport? And others might call it pearls of wisdom, but please make the time for yourselves to do it if you haven't done so already. And let's have our best year ever.
Sounds like a plan. Andrée, like we do for all of our episodes, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
Best places to go are my website, which is andreegolf.com, Andrée with 2 E's, Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify has an amazing list, also Instagram, and
starts with a Y.
Of course, YouTube has plenty of information and lots of video for you to expand your interests. Looking forward to support you in 2022.
Fantastic. Well, Andrée, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you on our next episode in January, okay?
Thanks, Howard. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. All right, folks, we have just kicked off our first episode of January, an episode of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight Podcast. Today's episode was Go for the Gold in 2022 by Living Your Best Vision. Lots of fantastic notes and best practices, actionable items that you can begin to think about and come up with your own action plan and reflection, not only what you did well in 2021, but what you are bringing forward in 2022, either to pivot around or improve upon. You have a full year ahead of you to make it your best year ever and going for the gold. Now, do check out Andrée on our website, andreegolf.com. We're going to provide backlinks to Andrée's YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn pages. You can find us on successinsightpodcast.com, as well as the major podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and especially Spotify that Andrée alluded to, where we have the Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin playlist. Lots of great ways to continue to consume these wonderful episodes that we have produced with Andrée. I don't know how many will end up this year with her. Probably we'll be in the 70 range. I mean, I think we've got probably have about 3 books worth, but hope you enjoy these episodes. And again, if you just come away with one item, it's kind of like we alluded before, if we can change the trajectory of one individual through the information we're gathering and sharing in these episodes, imagine what you can do by just, listening to this episode or prior episodes and making one adjustment in your life that enables you to improve your trajectory and go for the gold. So that's our wish for you in 2022. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. We look forward to having you as our guest listeners on future episodes. Okay. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. And again, you can check us out. Let us know what you think. Again, we're on successinsightpodcast.com. We're also on our Success Insight Podcast pages on Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Have a phenomenal year. And remember, go for the gold in 2022. We'll see you again on our next episode of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.